guys left for me on my Q&A post that I did a couple days ago. Because this is a long video, you guys. This is like 90 minutes. That's like movie length. So we have some time to chit-chat for a little while. Well, it's mostly just me chit-chatting, but to myself. I mean, you can talk back to me through the screen. I won't be able to respond in a way that's probably cohesive, but so before I get into the questions, I'm going to just do a quick little rundown of this cake. So I already had a chocolate cake in the freezer that I had made for something else, but then it just didn't end up getting used. And so I don't have the chocolate cake base filmed because it was already pre-made. But what you're seeing right now is me measuring out egg whites for the vanilla cake base. Actually, I think I did a lemon base. I was gonna do vanilla, and then last minute I decided I was feeling a little bit of citrus. I don't know. So I ended up doing lemon. Obviously the chocolate cake is for Max's dirt cake, and then the lemon sponge cake is for Ruby's like pink sprinkles cake. I'm actually so excited for you guys to see the end result because I think I found like actually the perfect sprinkles for replicating this cake. Like, I think they look so similar. And I got them from Michael's, of all places. Michael's has an extensive was like, this is gonna be such a long voiceover, and so I made like meeting notes for myself on my computer, because otherwise I was just gonna get sidetracked and ramble about random things and not actually talk about any of the things that I actually wanted to talk about. But if we get through all of that and there's still some time, maybe I'll talk to you about my birthday sort of disaster. We'll do a little story time at the end, we'll see. Okay, but let's get into some of these questions. I made that post, and that was like the first community post I've ever made, and I was so nervous that like no one was gonna see it or ask questions. So thank you very much to everyone who did. I appreciate it, and you guys asked some pretty good questions. I sort of organized them by like genre or theme, I guess. So we're going to start with just, oh my god, there's like I think there was just like a ginormous truck that drove past my window. So I apologize if that was annoying. I might cut that out, we'll see. But the first sort of category is just like general questions about me. And then I have a category about baking, and then I have a category about books and reading. But let's start with me. Let's talk about me. So, the first question I have here is, how old are you? What a great question. I'm curious I kind of want to ask, before I answer this, I'm going to ask, how old do you think I am? And I'm going to give you a moment to like type your guesses. Okay. You have your answers locked in, and now I will tell you. I am 23 years old. I just turned 23 over the last weekend. Actually, it'll be a week from the day that I post this video. I turned 23, which means I'm a Cancer if you're into astrology. So take with that what you will. Oh my god, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't really identify with the like crybaby sort of archetype, a stereotype that like a lot of people say for Cancers, but then, you know, I say that, but then on the other hand, like, I literally just cried over My Neighbor Totoro that I watched this afternoon. The part where, well, okay, I was gonna say spoiler, but like, it's been a while since that movie's been released, so I feel like I don't have to say spoiler. Just the part where May got lost and they like found the sandal in the pond, and they were like, what if it's hers? That part made me really sad, and I did cry a little bit. sociolinguistics especially, I wanted to like double major with that in college, but my university didn't offer that. So I just took all the linguistic courses that were available to me, because I just find the intersection of like language and like culture and society really interesting. And I'm also like, I guess kind of a huge nerd because I did enjoy doing like the phonetic tree breakdowns of like the IPA language. If you've taken a linguistics course, you'll know what that is. If not, I might insert a picture. But I thought those were really fun, and sometimes I would just like do them in my spare time. Or like I would like do my friends' homework because I just enjoyed it. So yeah, I identify as Appalachian. That is the region in the US where I'm from. Do I have any pets? Is the third question. I do. I love animals. My dream one day is to just like have enough land where I can just have a bunch of animals, not just farm animals, but like, I don't know, like lizards. I don't know why that was the first animal to pop in my head, but like lizards and like dogs and cats, and I don't know, I just love animals. I feel like we have a special connection. I feel like I have a special connection to most animals I meet. I feel like telepathically we can communicate. I feel like they just get me better than humans sometimes. But yes, I have two dogs. I have two Dachshunds. One of them is named Vader from Star Wars. And he's a Virgo. And the other one is named Zeppelin, like the band Led Zeppelin, and he's a Capricorn. And they're both Dachshunds are like, I feel like they're one of the most cat-like dogs that you can get, in the sense that they just a sip of water and then we will go on to the next question. Okay. Somebody asked, what did I go to school for? I've seen a few comments sort of assuming that I went to culinary school or pastry school. I did not. I am completely self-taught. I've never been to any sort of cooking or baking school or academy. I've never even taken like a cooking class before. I did it all myself. I actually have a writing and a rhetoric degree, and I have a minor in creative writing. So that's pretty cool. I got a writing degree to bake on the internet for all of you. And then they also asked if I liked college. And I would say I went to college at sort of like an awkward time, just like for society, because I really only had one normal semester my freshman year, because the spring semester of my freshman year was 2020, and we all kind of know what happened there, don't we? And so that was like kind of awkward, because I felt like I had finally sort of adjusted to this new chapter of my life, and then all of a sudden I was like isolated again, but in a different way. And also like there was this strange new disease, and we didn't have a lot of information, and things were very scary. And it was the beginning of a lot of unprecedented times, which I didn't love. So yeah, I did Zoom for, I was in Zoom classes for probably like half of my college career. So that was definitely unexpected thing that I had to adjust to, but I would say like spring semester of my sophomore year into the fall of my junior year, I definitely like, once I started getting into like I had done like my not elective, but like all of my required outside of my degree courses, and now I was like just in like writing and literature classes, and I went to sort of like a smaller university, and so like I was getting to know like pretty much everyone in my major, and I feel like that was like a time where I finally felt like I had sort of had like a little bit of a community, because I felt like I had sort of started to make friends my freshman year, and then, you know, all of the, I don't know if I'm allowed, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, like if certain words or phrases will get flagged, but you know what I'm talking about. All of the illness things that happened in 2020 sort of put a halt to that, and I was like, I'm already quite introverted and definitely have struggled with social anxiety in many ways throughout my entire life, and so that was really hard for me. But I feel like my creative writing class was there, and also like my other classmates, and I met really cool people, and they're still my friends to this day. They haven't gotten sick or bored of me yet, so to make it long story short, I did enjoy college, even though like I went at a really weird time of a lot of unprecedented events and things to navigate. And also just like a lot of like personal life turmoil like outside of the pandemic as well. But it was like through those times that I like found people in college that I could like really lean on for support. So yeah, it's great, and I miss seeing everyone every day. I was really sad by the end of like my senior year. I was like, oh, it really hit me like in January, February, that I was like, wow, like we're not all gonna be like sitting together in class again. Because when you're like in an Englishy degree and you like know everybody there, basically every class sort of just becomes like a book club with your friends. So it was like really fun. And I see them sometimes, but you know, we're all like on our different paths, and I miss them, but we're all doing well. And yeah, I liked college. I did. If it wasn't so expensive, I would get degrees in like everything because I love learning. Anyways, right now I am crushing up some dehydrated strawberries because a Ruby's cake is pink on the outside. The frosting's pink, so I was like, why don't I make strawberry frosting? And so guess what? That's exactly what I did. And I used my mortar and pestle from Target, and I crunched them up, and it actually worked out pretty well. It was very tasty. I enjoyed it, and it like just naturally dyed the frosting pink. I did end up using a tiny bit of pink food coloring because I wanted it to be like a little bit more vibrant, but most of the pink color came from the strawberries. Okay. Also, in all of these kitchen clips, you can just see in the corner like cucumbers and tomatoes. We have like a small garden in the backyard, and this is like the time of the year where like every single piece of produce ripens, and so there's like 2 or 3 weeks out of the summer where there's just so much fruit and vegetables that it's like overflowing, and I have to keep it on the counters because there's just no space to put them anywhere else. Our green beans are coming in now, though. I'm really excited because I love green beans. Oh, I'm also crushing up Oreos too because of the dirt cake. Obviously, Oreos look like dirt, so there we go. Ta-da. The next question that someone has asked is, do you watch a lot of YouTube yourself? And if so, who are some of your favorite YouTubers? Well, hold on one second. I need some water and then I'll answer that for you. Person who asked that question, because I don't know who you are, because I didn't write down any of your usernames. I just wrote down the questions, so I'm so sorry for that. But I acknowledge you and thank you for asking. Okay. I do watch a bit of YouTube now. I feel like I went through a phase, like my last 2 years of college, where I sort of didn't really engage with YouTube a lot, but this past year especially, I've definitely gotten back into it a lot, especially because streaming services are so expensive now, miss her so much. She's definitely like one of the few people where I anytime I'm like feeling sad or just like I need some comfort, like her videos are comfort videos to me, and so I'll always go back and watch them. I love them so much. And I watch Julian sometimes as well. I think he's mostly like a streamer now though, and so I can't always, our schedules don't always line up, so, but he posts cooking videos sometimes and I enjoy those. I also love The Sims. I love playing The Sims. And so I do watch YouTubers who also play The Sims. I think I mentioned her maybe in my last video, but I love Salita Sims, and she does a legacy challenge, and she does a not so berry challenge, but they're not like typical playthroughs. Like she does them like as storylines, like I'm watching like a drama show or something, which I really enjoy. Those are really great if you like The Sims as well. I also enjoy watching Nicole Raffi. If you've ever seen a video that's like Chronically Online Girl Explains Blank, and she's like pointing to a wall of posters of people, that's Nicole, and I enjoy her videos as well. And she has a podcast as well, I think with one of her friends that I like listening to. And of course, I've been on the internet for a long time, okay? And so of course, I am enjoying this resurgence of Dan and Phil. I was like, oh my god, how much of myself do I want to expose right now? I was very big into like Tumblr when I was like in high school, specifically like when I was like 14 and 15, and that was like the peak of like the Dan and Phil fandom, okay? And I may or may not have had a fan account, okay? But I wasn't like the kind of person who would like ship them together, because even at like that younger age I kind of recognize that it's like maybe it's kind of weird to like imagine these two real life people are together when they haven't said anything about it. But I definitely like, I was there for their radio show, I was there for their YouNows, I watched all their videos, okay? I was very big into the fandom, and I feel like their Dan and Phil Games channel has come back in this past year, and watching those videos, honestly, I feel like that's just healing my inner 14-year-old self. So I love them. They're also really like Andrew Lau. And Mia Maples. She's just so sweet. I think that was the last of the like more personal questions. I think someone asked me, and I forgot to write this down, but like, what shows or films am I watching? And well, as you heard earlier, I'm getting into Studio Ghibli films. So I've been watching Ponyo, My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, and Howl's Moving Castle. I also, in terms of shows, like, obviously, I love The Bear. Okay, I watched the latest season 3 in like a day. It was great. I love Ayo Adibri. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not, but I'm trying my best. What else do I watch? You know what? I really love watching specifically The Real Housewives of Orange County. I haven't kept up with them in a while, but I used to watch that like religiously with my mom. I think I just find it really interesting to like observe and people watch, and I feel like reality TV is like the most socially acceptable way to do that. So I do enjoy a bit of reality TV as well. I'm trying to think. What else do I watch? I don't know, I feel like right now I'm just sort of mostly watching YouTube videos. Yeah, I was watching Shameless. I have this problem though where when I really like a show, I'll watch all the way up until the last season and then I won't finish it for like so long. I did this with Parks and Rec too and The Office. Like I just wouldn't watch the final seasons. And so technically I'm on season 8 of Shameless and I just haven't finished it. Oh look, I'm making frosting. This is a strawberry one. So basically like I feel like all buttercreams, like American buttercreams, are pretty like simple. It's just butter and powdered sugar and a little bit of salt, a little bit of vanilla, and then the dehydrated strawberries. I think the biggest differentiator between people's like American buttercream recipes is like their butter to powdered sugar ratio. I feel like a lot of people do so much powdered sugar and it's so sweet. And I know I like almost exclusively baked desserts on here, but like I'm not that big of a sweet person. I like when my desserts are like, I don't know, more balanced. Like I don't want it to be like I'm just eating sugar. So I do a ratio where it's like almost equal parts butter to sugar. Sometimes I even do like I think for this one I did 4 also, I think they're really fun to experiment with, like in terms of flavor. Once you've got like a good dough base down. And cakes are also, I think they're really fun to decorate. I enjoy doing those. I need to start doing like mini ones though, because I don't decorate cakes that often because I don't want to have like a whole cake. Like I don't need an entire cake like all the time, you know what I mean? I guess I could just like have a stage cake and do like decoration on that. I don't know. But basically anything where there's room to like experiment with either the flavors or like the presentation, that's my jam. And then someone also asked, what is my best piece of advice for beginner bakers? Let me think. Okay, I think, well, maybe this is more like a piece of advice for life in general, but I'm also going to apply it to baking here. I think you should learn to view whatever limitations you encounter as an opportunity to be resourceful or creative instead of just a limitation. Because I think, like, obviously it's inevitable that you're gonna screw those include, I love Southern Gothics, and I also really enjoy creative nonfiction, and I like horror and paranormal fiction as well. Currently, I am very slowly working my way through Slewfoot by Brom, so maybe once I have time to finish it, I will talk about it on here too. I also love Litvic and poetry, and that's all I can think of off of the top of my very sleepy head right now. I also have enjoyed several Appalachian literature books. I took an Appalachian lit class in college, actually, and I really loved pretty much all of the books that we read for that. I also just think that I liked them because they feel like more personal and like relatable to read to me, because I'm so close to the topics and the issues that are discussed in that genre. So yeah. I know romance is like a really popular genre, and I've tried to enjoy it, but I just haven't really found a romance book that I've loved, I'm gonna be honest. And I think I just prefer stories with romance as like a secondary or like a subplot, because a lot of my favorite books do have elements of love in them, but when it's like the main crux of the plot, at least like with the books that I've read, I feel like the characters tend to become sort of like flat and not sort of like a person outside of the relationship that's central to the plot, you know what I mean? But maybe I'm just not reading the right ones, who knows? But we're getting to the final question here, which is, what are my all-time favorite books? Okay, this is a big question, and I had to really sit down and think, because I've read a lot of books, I own a lot of books, and so I really had to sift through probably hundreds of things that I've read and really think, like, if I could only have like 5 So that's what I did, and Mrs. Bull loved it so much, and honestly, like, yeah, you should have, because like all of my blood, sweat, and tears went into that project because I loved that book and I loved her so much. Like, I just wanted her to like be like, wow, this is so good, and she was like, wow, this is so good, and she's like, this is so good that I have it so I can like show my next year's class. Like, this is an example, and I was like, wow, literally I would be so honored. And so she did, but then a couple years later, she ended up moving to Austria with her husband, and I never got that school project back, and I don't know if she took it with her, or like, did the next teacher inherit it? Like, I don't know. So, yeah, I wish I had taken pictures of it, but I didn't. It was really cool though. I enjoyed it, and I love that book. I remember before she left though, she gave me a poem, and she was like, this poem reminds me of you, and she like printed it out and laminated it. It was really cute. But my next book that I have written down is Bell Hooks All About Love, and I had been wanting to read this book. I read this book like 2 years ago, and I had been wanting to read it for a while, and I ended up like finding it at a bookstore at a beach when I was on vacation over the summer, just like so randomly. Like, I was walking out of the store, and then I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and it was the only one left, and it felt like a faded moment or something, and I just love this book so much. I sleep next to it every night, and once I finished reading it, I bought several copies for my friends that I gifted to them. I didn't even ask if they wanted it. I was just like, you're getting this book, and they were like, okay. I don't even know if they read it, but I was like, you need to read it. It's just like, it's that book that whenever I meet a new friend and we like become close enough, I'm like, okay, it's time to gift you a copy of this book. It's really poignant, and I think everyone should read this at least once in their lives, especially if you're in your 20s. I would definitely recommend giving this book a read, or anything by Bell Hooks, but specifically All About Love is the one I recommend. She also does poetry as well, which I have read before and also enjoyed. Oh look, it's the chocolate buttercream. And now we're gonna decorate the cakes. I start out with the dirt cake, which you'll see here momentarily, I think. I just yawned away from the the microphone. Okay, the next book I have on my list is The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. I think this one is like closer to a memoir or like a creative nonfiction piece, but it's really just Jeanette's life story, and it touches on navigating dysfunctional families and being the one who wants to try and end generational cycles. And she visited my university literally the year before I started going there, and I was so upset when I found that out. If only I had been born a year earlier, maybe I could have met her. If you're spiritual at all, or just like into tarot or getting into tarot reading, I really love Jessica Doerr's Tarot for Change. It's a book that breaks down each card in the tarot deck So it can be used as like a tool for mindfulness and personal growth and self-discovery, and I just really enjoy her interpretations of the tarot deck, because I feel like some people use it sort of like as a way to like predict the future, and I feel like maybe that's not the most helpful or impactful way we could be using those cards. So I really love Jessica Dore. I follow her on Twitter. There are dogs barking. I don't know if you can hear them. And of course, in terms of cookbooks, I love Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, and both of Claire Savitt's dessert books, though I do prefer the first one, Dessert Person, more. I just find that there are more recipes that I go back to time and time again that have sort of just like integrated themselves into like my daily baking in that one. Maybe I just need more time with the second one because I haven't had it nearly as long, so who knows. I also recently finished reading Alice Liang's If You Could See the Sun, which is really good if you're in the mood for maybe something a little more lighthearted. I know most of the other books I talked about are kind of heavy. I think that's just what I tend to gravitate toward for some reason. But it's about a high school girl who starts randomly turning invisible, and she decides to use her like new power to her advantage as a way to earn money to pay for her prep school tuition that her parents can no longer afford to pay for. And those are all of my favorite books. And that was the last question. Super exciting stuff we've got going on. Oh, I love that filling. It literally tastes like banana bread. It was so good. I love chocolate and banana together. It's really great. The only thing that would have made this better is if I added like a layer of peanut butter, because peanut butter I feel like enhances everything. I don't think I've gone a single day in my life since eating solid foods that I haven't had a peanut butter in some capacity, in some form. It's just that good. Peanut butter is just that girl, okay? We're over an hour into the video, and you can tell because I just said peanut butter is that girl. So guys, just a quick update on my channel. First of all, how are we like almost at 2,000 subscribers already? I don't know. But with all of this growth means that I am very close to unlocking like it's a quest. Unlocking the like membership option on my channel, and I just thought I would bring that up because I wanted to sort of read the room and feel it out. Like, how are we feeling about that as a potential option in the near future? Like, is that something that we want? Is that something that we're interested in? Genuinely, I don't really know much about it because I've literally never done this before. So I'm not quite sure about the logistics of it yet. In terms of like, I don't know how pricing for that works, or if there's tiers. I don't know like how much control I have over that. But just sort of putting that out there so we just supplemental or more. But I've never sort of been in this place before, so I don't know. I don't know how to navigate this. It feels weird because I don't want monetary incentive to like change anything. Like, I don't want it to change the nature of our relationship. Obviously, like, it's not going, like, it's not, I don't, that's not my intention for it to, like, from my end. But I just think, like, it's important to be transparent about the things that are going on, maybe behind the scenes, and just making sure we're all on the same page. So, yeah, I don't know, I feel like I don't really see people talk about these sort of aspects with their followers as much, but I respect you guys, and I feel like, you know, we are in some way like a little community, so I think everyone deserves to sort of be informed and have a say. Oh my goodness. I'm getting so diplomatic. But yeah, let me know. How are we feeling about a membership option? Would you be interested? And if so, what kind of things would you like to be able to have as members? And also, that means I'm a step closer to being able to control the ads that run on my videos, because right now I have no control over what ads run and where they run. And I know, especially for this kind of content, that mid-rolls are really annoying, and I feel really bad that I can't do anything about that right now. But I promise you, as soon as I am able to control that function, I will not have mid-rolls on my videos. Because some of y'all are just trying to get a good night's sleep, and I don't want to interrupt that with some BetterHelp ad, you know what I mean? Or Invisalign ad, like, that's just annoying. I think those are like the only two like big sort of channel updates that I have. Okay, so someone asked one more question that I must have missed over. So we're veering back, we're pivoting back to the Q&A section just to answer this one last thing, and then I'll talk more about the cake decorations that's happening. But someone asked me what inspired me to start this channel, and I guess basically it was sort of like a combination of a lot of things, but I actually started making like baking TikToks, and those were fun, and then I started my blog as well. But I got to like a place with the TikToks where it was sort of like, I don't know, I felt like it was just missing the community aspect over there, and also like I feel like this sort of like chill, like slower paced, relaxing kind of content, like that's sort of the antithesis about what TikTok is. Like, it's really like quick and like high energy, and I just felt like I didn't, like, the content that I wanted to make didn't really match the vibe of TikTok and its algorithm and the people over there. So then I decided to, why not realistic looking gummy worms, but they only have them in like funky colors, so that's what I had to do. And then also there's like, I don't know if they're actually raspberries on his cake, but there's some sort of like red fruit or something that I thought they looked like raspberries, so I used raspberries. I actually am shocked that these raspberries like made it onto the cake because I wasn't thinking, and I bought them like a week before I actually needed them, and I did not think that they were gonna keep in the fridge like they did, because normally a fruit, especially berries, like they're gonna mold in like a couple days, but I stuck a paper towel in the bottom, and I think that worked to like soak up a bunch of the extra moisture. So there's a little tip for you. If you need your fruit and vegetables to last longer, stick a little paper towel in the container and just swap it out every few days, and that'll suck up all the extra moisture. So I'm sort of just like, I'm like kind of looking at a reference photo, but I'm also just sort of placing them haphazardly, because I feel like that's sort of what he did. So this cake was really good, by the way. I really enjoyed both cakes, but I think this one is my favorite. I think I just prefer chocolate flavored things, though. There's the first little gummy worm. Isn't it so cute? I shaved the cake down too to make it try to look more like a mound, like a pile of mud, which I don't know how well that worked out, but it was also like, I thought it would be easier to shape the cakes when they were frozen, but I think it might have been easier to shape them before I froze them, because they were kind of a little difficult to cut through. But yeah, after I add these worms, this cake was pretty much done. Both of these cakes were like relatively simple in decoration, but like you have to get the decoration components just right, otherwise I feel like you won't get the reference. It's so cute. I wish I still had some. Then I would try it. We could do a taste test, but it is long gone, so. I also, like, I don't think, like, the rest of my brother got the reference, but I don't think the rest of my family really understood what I was going for here, so they were kind of like, you made a dirt cake, that's cool. And so I had to, like, as we were lighting the candles, I had to like explain to everyone what the inspo was, like what was going on, and then they were like, oh, okay, I see your vision. I did enjoy making these cakes, but also part of me is like, I wish maybe just for like one of my birthdays, maybe someone else would want to make me a cake instead. Because I had to make cake, and then I had to also like make components of the dinner. I felt like I was sort of just like serving everybody else for my own birthday, which wasn't ideal for me, but I don't know. Maybe one day I'll have more people in my life that would like to make me feel special. Let's move on before I get emotional. We are moving on to the ruby cake. Here's the strawberry icing that I made. Also, you can see that I'm like putting down layers of frosting. That's just to help the cake board stick to the turntable so things don't slip and slide, and then to get the base cake layer to stick to the cake board. And this isn't like a fancy turntable, it's literally just like a Wilton one that I probably got like at Walmart or something. icing around the sides just so that the jam that I bought has like a cozy little place to sit and it doesn't seep out. Normally I make my own jam, and I had planned on making my own jam for this because I had raspberry jam extra in the fridge that I made a while ago for something else, but then that ended up getting used up before I had a chance to start on this cake. So I decided, you know what, I'm making so many components for these things, I'm just gonna buy a jar of jam. So that's what I did, and there it is. I just opened it up, and I was surprised that I didn't have to have anyone help me open it. It's called a 4-fruit spread, which I thought was intriguing. I think it was strawberries, raspberries, red currants, which I've never had before, and maybe cherries. But it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. For like a store-bought jam, it was decent. I still prefer making my own though. I kind of like when jams have like the fruit fibers and the seeds still intact. Like I like that textural component. And when you buy it from the store, it's sort of just all kind of like jelly. But that's all right. I think I just went to get the next layer of cake. This is the one that I had to trim. So I tried to get it to work without trimming it, but as you can sort of see that it's definitely a little not proportional. So I had to go off camera and trim it because I didn't have enough room where I was filming on that table to trim the cake. I didn't want to move everything around. I am excited about the things that I'm making for next week. Well, I'm making them next week, but they're not going to come out. The videos won't come out until the week after. Because I usually bake the week before, and then I have those videos ready for the next week. But, so let me think, what's upcoming? I have cookies and cream blondies I filmed. I have like a peanut butter, sort of cinnamon streusel bar. And I made some chai spiced donuts. And I think there was one other thing. Oh, there was chocolate cherry brownies. Yeah. So those will be coming in the near future. I think what I might do is combine the two Blondie videos into one like hour-long video, because I feel like that's how long I'm gonna need to talk about my book review. But then also, like, if you guys want them as like two separate videos, two of me just like going over the baking process, I can do that as well. So just let me know. But I don't, like, if you don't, like, if that would be like repetitive to see the similar footage. I don't know. We'll see. Isn't this strawberry frosting so cute though? Like, I love the shade of pink. I think it's like the perfect shade of pink. It's like a nice pastel color. I'm so excited to show you guys the sprinkles. But here's the thing, is now I have like a bunch of these extra sprinkles because I only need a little bit because this is a tiny cake. So I have like 3 jars of sprinkles and I don't know what to do with them. I sell at farmers market was like, that is so random. And I was like, I mean, maybe I'm interested, I don't know. So he's gonna email me about it later, we'll see. I just like, you never know the kinds of people you'll meet and the sorts of interactions that you'll have at a Saturday morning market, I guess. I was just very caught off guard. I feel like I'm gonna have too much on my plate soon, because I'm doing a lot of jobs right now, so I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what sticks, I guess. I also, did I talk about this already? I think I did. I talked about the Studio Ghibli movies that I watched. I talked about that earlier. Sorry, this has just been going on for so long. I'm like, what? What do I need to update you guys on? I don't know. Let's go back to the cake. So I'm doing my best to smooth it out. Normally I do a crumb coat and then I do another like final coat of buttercream, but since this is my birthday and I don't particularly like a ton of icing, I sort of skipped the final coat stage and just did like one sort of thicker crumb coated layer. So you might be able to see like a tiny bit of the actual cake peeking through, but that's just because I don't love a ton of icing. So I think it still looks like pretty like smooth and covered in pink. Oh my gosh, and then I couldn't quite tell from the reference photo if the little dollops of icing on top were like a cream color or if they were like dyed yellow. So I just did like a regular buttercream color and I just piped those onto there. And this is when I was like, oh my god, this is so cute. It's just the cutest little cake, and it's even cuter because it was like a little mini 4-inch cake. I think, okay, either the sprinkles or the candles are coming next. Let's see. What'll it be? It's the sprinkles. These are the hard sprinkles that I bought from Michael's. They were actually, I thought they were going to be more difficult to open, but the seal kind of just fell off, which I was like, that's kind of concerning that it sort of just blew off, but I don't think they were used. These I have never used like this texture of sprinkle before. Normally I get like, you know, like the long little tube sprinkles. I think they're called like jimmies or something, I don't know. Or like little sprinkle balls. But these ones had like almost the texture of like wafer paper or like edible styrofoam. Honestly, they kind of felt like a really thin layer of styrofoam, and I was confused as to like what edible material is this, but they look really nice on the cake, so it's fine. I think they probably are just like wafer paper, like dyed and cut out. I think I mostly did just like the pink and the white hearts because that's sort of the color scheme that I saw on Ruby's cake. So I started with the hearts and then I did the stars. And I also bought little confetti circles as well, but it turns out that I didn't need those. I just needed the hearts and the stars. they didn't have any like wafer papers, star sprinkles, which made me sad that they were going to be like different textures. I was like, oh my gosh, what if it ruins the whole look? But I actually think it looked fine. It worked out well. And I kind of liked the size variation as well, more than I thought I would, so that's good. I sort of just like place these, a couple of them in the little spaces, like in between the hearts that I left. I had to sort of shove them into the icing a little bit because they were thicker than the heart ones, and I didn't want them to like jut out of the cake, so I had to like shove them into the icing. I also, like, this would have been way easier if I had tweezers or something to put them in there because they were so small, and I kept like almost dropping them onto the turntable. But yeah, I'm trying to think about what else happened at my market that might be of interest. I sold out of all the donuts that I brought, and honestly, like, I never know how much of anything to bring because people are like so finicky. Like, if it's too hot, I won't sell enough. If it's too cold, I don't sell enough. If it's like it's so weather dependent, the crowd that shows up. Also, like holidays, you'd think around holidays more people would be out and about, but the 4th of July was like dead, which was kind of annoying. And then if I have extras, some of it can be like saved in the freezer, or I just like give it away to like friends and neighbors. But I brought the muffins that I had to DIY liners for. I did not film that, but I might film that for next week because those are really good. I ate one, and yeah, those are really nice. I did, instead of just blueberry and lemon, I did lemon and orange together, so it was like double citrus, and it was really good. I would recommend that. I kind of want to try them out with a little bit of the buckwheat flour that I have now. I just have so much buckwheat flour left over from my mother's cake for her birthday that I'm trying to like think of ways to get rid of it, honestly. I do kind of like it though. I like it with pancakes, so I feel like in muffins it would also be good. I think I'm just about done with the sprinkles. Yeah, Ruby's cake just has hearts and stars on it. And they're all just sort of like multicolors, so there we go. And then I think the final step that I have to do for this is to put the candles on top in those little buttercream puffs that I put up on top. I bought specific candles for these as well, because normally we just have a container of those colorful candles, and we just keep reusing them until